We're live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Women protest alleged police intimidation in Osun as security assessment records sharp surge in violence ahead governorship election. Troops overwhelm several terrorists and recover weapons, a major gain for counter-terrorism operations in Northeast. Scores killed as powerful earthquake hits western Colombia.
Business Central Bank of Nigeria returns to primary market with 700 billion naira treasury bills auction on August 12th.
In sports news tonight, UEFA and its fellow confederations are not backing down in their bid to unseat FIFA President Gianni Infantino, and they released a joint statement accusing him of breaking trust through deception.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight begins shortly. With just days to the Osun governorship election, anxiety over the safety and credibility of the poll is growing as women take to the streets, and a new security assessment warns of a sharp rise in electoral violence. Hundreds of women marched through Osogbo protesting alleged political violence, killings, and police intimidation, while demanding that voters be allowed to cast their ballot without fear. Their concerns come against the backdrop of 73 election-related violent incidents and 29 deaths recorded across the state. And this is according to a Kimpact Development Initiative assessment. Now, the report says violence has risen by 206% compared with 2022, with Osogbo identified as the worst-hit area. It names 12 high-risk local governments requiring targeted security and political intervention ahead of Saturday's vote. Meanwhile, most of the parties are now wrapping up campaign activities. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, organized its mega rally with party leaders like Atiku Abubakar, Rauf Aregbesola, and governorship candidate Najim Salam, galvanizing supporters and urging them to come out and vote. Senator David Mark asked the supporters to defend their vote come Saturday, while Atiku praised them for their impressive turnout and asked them to show the same patriotism on Election Day. Let's cross live to our correspondent, Bernard Akede, who is on the ground in Osun. Before we will be talking as well to Wasiu Adebi, a civil society leader, for our wider perspective on developments there. Bernard, good to see you. Let's start with INEC. What have you seen and heard thus far? And what can you tell us about the umpire's readiness for Election Day?
Thank you, Felicity, and good evening. Well, there are notable changes in and around INEC premises as at this morning and in certain parts of the state. To start with, we could notice that there were a heightened number of security operatives around INEC. And by security operatives now, I'm talking visible army officers, soldiers around there, and of course, officers of the DSS equally around there. And I did mention earlier today that information we got from that quarters was that there now is limited access to INEC office at the moment. As a matter of fact, even INEC staff who are from level 9 and below will not be granted access to the premises, just level 9 and above, and certain specific persons will be granted access, to that particular region of the state. And then we equally got to speak with the REC today, and she talked about the readiness of INEC. She mentioned areas like transportation, mobilization of electoral materials. She equally talked about training of ad hoc staff, which she said was completed yesterday, I do believe. And she talked about not just the deployment of staff, there also will be deployment of set technical staff to help support the beavers machine should they go faulty, God forbid, according to her, and that there will equally be more beavers machines readily prepared on standby should they have any issues. So from where we stand and from what we've said and what we've heard rather and seen, like you asked, INEC seems to be ready for this election. We just hope that the words that we heard today will eventually, translate into tangible substance come 15th of August.
We reported just moments ago the parties are coming to the last days of campaign. You've seen quite a number, and today was that of the ADC. What stood out for you and what was your major takeaway?
But the crowd that we saw at the ADC rally today was unprecedented. As a matter of fact, one of the party leaders, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is flying the party's flag at the presidential level, did say that the crowd was quite impressive. We saw big wigs like Atiku Abubakar himself. We equally saw Rauf Aregbesola, who seemed to pull quite some followership around the ADC and the people in Osogbo today. There equally, of course, was Najim Salam, the party's gubernatorial candidate here. And then, of course, the very popular Senator Dino Melaye was equally there. And then David Mark. These are some of the notable names and faces that we got to see. But I think the takeaway, of course, is the fact that they were able to pull off that kind of crowd in Osogbo today. It just goes to show that we cannot rule out anybody just yet in this particular party. So those who were saying, I think including myself, who did think that it was just a two-horse race, may be proven wrong in the days to come. But again, as we wind down to the final day, August 15th, there seems to be a lot of activities going on, and it will continue this way until eventually the parties have to stop their campaigns, and just prepare for the ballots itself.
All right, Bernard, before we let you go, I want to slide back a bit to your earlier comment on security. We know that there is quite a number of presence in that area, both protecting INEC and other persons. Is the are the presence of these security operatives doing enough to convince the people that the election will be violence-free? Is it having the right impressed on the people, or it's the opposite?
Well, Felicity, I think that that's exactly what this heightened security presence is expected to do. To give confidence back to the people that there will be safety and security around this election period. Before, during, and after. And that's because in the early days when we first arrived, the few people we spoke to did lay concerns about security, and you also did mention the march by women, still concerning security. Again, I would say that there is hope that the heightened security presence would make people feel safe and then let them come out. But again, as they say, hope is not a strategy. There has to be physical action to let the people know and see and then believe that they are safe and secure, and that then will translate into them coming out to cast their vote. During the rally today, the governorship candidate of the ADC did reiterate to the followers that you would see security operatives on ground. Many of them are being deployed to the state. Do not be alarmed. They are here to help us and not to fight us. And I think that basically is the message that even the security operatives themselves are passing out. So I may not be answering your question directly by saying whether or not the presence of the security operatives will make the people feel more secure. But I'll say that the hope is that their presence will actually make the people secure.
Bernard, as always, thank you very much for your robust coverage. All right, we now have a picture of what is on the ground. Let's get a broader context to developments there. We'll bring in now a civil society perspective from Wasiu Adebi, who is the state focal person for Yaga Africa, watching the votes project in Osun State. Thank you so much for obliging us tonight. From what you've seen on the ground and some of the comments of my colleague this evening, how concerned should voters be about the rising incidence of violence and the heightened security presence ahead of Saturday's election?
As we move closer to Osun 2026 election, I can see that we have like 4 stakeholders that are preparing for the election. The INEC, like Bernard said, based on what we have seen from the CSO level, they are prepared. They have followed their timetables, and they have followed their programs one by one. Training, they have done that. Voter education, they have done that. In fact, they cohort CSO's person to do it for them, which I'm one of them. Also, the people, I think people are ready to vote based on what we have seen on the street. But we only have issue with 2 stakeholders. Those are the political party and the security. In Osun so far, the insecurity news in the state is becoming alarming. That whenever we go and talk to the people, they usually say that they are ready to vote, but this fear of insecurity this news of insecurity every day is giving them fear of coming out to vote on Saturday. So insecurity, number one, and political party actors themselves, basically from the two leading parties, the Accord Party and the APC. They are usually almost on daily basis on confrontation of war, confrontation of words, and confrontation through maybe allegation and counter-allegation. So in those two remaining stakeholders are the one that I think they are giving the people some form of fear on what to expect on Saturday. But based on the security, based on the personnel we have seen so far in Osun, like Mr. Bernard said, I was also in INEC office earlier today, and I can see visible army personnel around the INEC premises with their guns standing in front of the building. So security has been beefed up in Osun, and I believe that our people will see that and become hopeful of coming out to vote as they wish on Saturday.
Now, one of the questions I asked Bernard was this heavy security, is it accomplishing what the government wants it to in terms of reassuring the people or creating a level of anxiety? What is the conversation in your circles as to this record number of security presence?
Thank you. I think like 2 weeks before this time, we had a meeting with the CP through the police PPRO about the insecurity in the state. And they assured that based on the meeting they had with IGP, there will be mass movement of security personnel to Osun to ensure that we maintain law and order throughout the election period. And this is not new. 2014 election, this is how we witnessed movement of security to Osun. 2020 the same thing, and 2022 the same thing. So I believe we are used to it if they work according to the civil way of working. If they don't intimidate and they don't cause any havoc, maybe before or during election. So we expect them to bring the security on ground because based on the news, according to KDI report, as you cited earlier, we have serious issues in Osogbo and other local governments like Ilesha, Dakumasa, Ede, and so on and so forth. So we need more hand to ensure that all the in Osun, we have over 3,000 polling units. So we need as many as possible security personnel around those polling units. Though they may not be at the exact unit, but they must be within that unit to ensure that people come out to vote and go back to their house without any molestation, harassment, or victimization. So as far as we are concerned from the CSO angle, we are satisfied with the deployment of more personnel of security to Osun. So far, they work according to democratic rules and regulations.
All right, just days to the polls. What are the 3 most important things INEC, security agencies, and political actors must get right to ensure that voters can cast their ballot peacefully and return home safely?
As I said earlier, as far as we are concerned from the CSO angle, I think INEC is ready, and they are working to the plan, and they are working fine thus far. But my only concern is to talk to the political stakeholders to see election as festival of choice, that in every 4 years, it is normal in democratic setting to elect a new set of leaders. They should see the Saturday poll as manifestation of people's will, that people will come out to vote for whom they want to be their leader for the next 4 years. They should not see this election as do or die or as winning by all cost. And secondly, to the security agencies, particularly the police, the tongue are wagging too much on the police bias or something like that. So I want to urge them to please to walk above board on Saturday. They should be neutral, they should be professional, and they should be fair to all, and ensure that we have a peaceful, fair, and credible election on Saturday.
Comrade Adebiyi, thank you for speaking with us.
You are welcome, ma'am.
Coming up tonight, police in Kogi declare rescue of 15 victims abducted along the Itobe-Ayingba highway. We have details shortly. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Women protest alleged police intimidation in Osun as security assessment records sharp surge in violence ahead governorship election. Troops overwhelm several terrorists and recover weapons, a major gain for counter-terrorism operations in Northeast. And scores killed as powerful earthquake hits western Colombia. Let's head on now to Edo State, where the governor, Senator Monday Okweholo, says his administration plans to strengthen its presence at the grassroots by taking governance and opportunities closer to the communities. The announcement came during a meeting with APC leaders and members from the state's 18 local government areas at the Government House in Benin City. News Center's Edo State correspondent Ameze Bazwaye reports.
From the state capital to the wards, the Edo State government says it wants governance to have a stronger presence at the grassroots. Governor Monday Okweholo told APC members from across the 18 local government areas that development should reach communities directly rather than remain concentrated at the state level.
We don't have any other party than APC. So we are taking the governance to the grassroots, so that whatever is from the top will also go down to the bottom. Appointing 4,000 SSA or SA is not an issue at all, because we all work for this victory. The victory does not belong to Okweholo alone, and that is Hausa alone. So it belongs to all of us.
The governor also thanked party members for their support, describing the APC's electoral successes as a collective effort. He said the planned appointment of special assistants would help strengthen the connection between government and the people at the ward level. APC Chairman Jarrett Tenebe announced plans to appoint 25 special assistants in each of Edo's 192 wards, a total of 4,800 positions. He said a committee had been set up to work with ward structures and ensure nominees meet the required criteria before their names are forwarded to the party headquarters.
We have also set up a committee at the state working committee level that will have interface with the various wards to ensure that the guidelines set out to bring up these names are properly followed and the list communicated the way it is from the ward to the party headquarters in Benin.
I want to thank you for what you have been doing for the party. Continue. Governance is not a joke. Continue to pray for the governor. Continue to give him all the necessary support in your various wards. And together, we are going to make Asiwaju proud in Edo State.
The meeting brought together the APC State Working Committee, ward and local government representatives, Deputy Governor Dennis Idahosa, and other senior government and party officials. In Edo, for News Central, Ameze Bazwaye.
Many thanks, Ameze. Let's now bring you that security update we teased earlier from Kogi State. 15 victims abducted along the Itobe-Ayingba Highway in a local government area have been rescued after a gun battle between security operatives and their abductors. The victims were kidnapped on Sunday when a Peace Mass transit bus was intercepted between Ojuwon, Ajengo, and Mamerebo, a known kidnapping flashpoint. The joint operation involving the police, army, DSS, NSCDC, local vigilante, and auxiliary forces led to the rescue of all 15 victims, including 2 FRSC personnel, 12 adults, and 3 children. 1 vigilante member was killed, while police officers sustained gunshot injuries. Staying with security matters, in Plateau State, the police command there has reportedly arrested a clergyman and 2 security personnel over an alleged plot to abduct the wives of 2 prominent bishops in Jos. The suspects were arrested following intelligence received by the police about an alleged criminal conspiracy and an attempted kidnapping. One of the suspects was identified as 42-year-old Reverend Hassan Mija of Tundumwada, Jos North. Police reportedly had media conspired with Sergeant Ezra Sunday of the Nigerian Air Force and OS Usman Khalid of the Nigerian Navy, both attached to Operation Enduring Peace in Jos. The intended victims were identified as the wives of Bishop Ephraim Gongden and retired Bishop Benjamin Kwashi. Now, one of our lead stories. Several terrorists have been killed in separate military operations across Borno State as security forces intensify efforts to disrupt insurgent activities in the northeast. Troops of Operation Hadinkai repelled a major attack on the opposition in Gajiram, Ngazai local government area, killing several terrorists and recovering weapons, ammunition, and communication equipment. The military says the attackers attempted to overrun the base around midnight, but were forced to retreat after coming under sustained fire. Some troops were injured and have been evacuated for treatment. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force says a precision airstrike in Sambisa Forest killed 9 ISWAP fighters. Among those killed was Abu Khalid al-Muhaji, identified as a key commander responsible for providing security escorts to senior ISWAP members. A quick breather. When we come back, we'll be having conversations on this milestone in security. Artificial intelligence is reshaping Nigeria's economy, with the education sector increasingly adopting AI tools to support teaching and learning. But as access to these technologies grow among students and educators, stakeholders and experts say clear regulation, proper guidance, and responsible use are essential to maximize the benefits while managing the risk. News Center's Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
Momentum in Nigeria, with sectors including healthcare, agriculture, finance and education increasingly exploring its potential to improve productivity and learning. But experts say the growing use of AI in education also presents challenges requiring continuous learning and adaptation to ensure that technology is used effectively.
It's important for us to focus on the educators that are driving the capacity for Nigerians to play in the AI space. And so what we want to do with this program,
trying to educate lecturers who are the key specialists in this field and scope and area, and seeing how do we provide that institutional support so then they can then carry this and carry the flagship and continue learning and teaching students beyond multiple years.
While the potential impact of AI on education is significant, experts warn that misuse and over-reliance could undermine its benefit without proper structures and safeguards. The government has begun developing measures to regulate artificial intelligence through national strategies, data protection, regulations, and proposed legislation.
Have to be aware that yes, there's the current state, but more importantly, what are the things that we're already doing to change the future states? And the work that the government is doing through the Ministry of Education and through the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy is already on that path. There's a National Education Technology Strategy which was launched, which the process started last year and is going to be launched before the end of the year.
Essentially, we were looking at schools that had strong STEM programs, and then also the population of the STEM students. We also looked at the leadership commitment, and then schools that had the infrastructure and readiness to take on a project like this.
As AI tools become more accessible to students and educators, stakeholders say regulation must be matched with clear guidelines, ethical standards, and adequate training. They believe this will help educational institutions harness AI for better learning outcomes while protecting students and maintaining academic integrity.
Research has moved from the use of AI now to how do we control. You know, we are not going to be here and allow what we built take over us. So that is why there are a lot of things going on in ethics, in privacy, in use of the AI. There are a certain percentage of things you can do without that AI can help you do, but the rest you're supposed to use your initiative.
With artificial intelligence continuing to transform education and other sectors of Nigeria's economy, Experts say strengthening the regulatory framework will be critical to ensuring that its benefits are maximized while potential risks are effectively managed. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has tasked youths nationwide to monitor ongoing federal projects within their regions of residence in a bid to help stop the spread of fake news and misinformation about the efforts of the current administration. The minister, while hosting executives of the National Association of Nigerian Students, says that students and youths remain key stakeholders in national development and urged them to critique the efforts of government constructively so as to help identify operational lapses in the provision of key infrastructural projects around the country. He says that the federal government will continue to be transparent and accountable to citizens and is open to scrutiny from any quarter.
We have turned these projects to ICPC. They have gone round. We are ready for constructive criticism and we will make amends. We've written to EFCC to also go round. We have nothing to hide in this next step. And so the third leg is the students. You are stakeholders. You are very important. You are critical in the development of this country. We have under B1 monitoring of projects. We from there officially give you money to go and monitor. We are not God who does everything right. We want you to tell us where we are not doing it right, and we make amends.
Let's now take on that conversation on the milestones being accomplished in the Northeast in terms of security efforts. We're now joined by Commissioner for Information and Internal Security in Borno State, Professor Usman Tar, is a guest. Thank you very much for joining us today. Commissioner, despite these latest successes, we know that terrorists continue to mount attacks on military positions. Does this suggest that ISWAP still has the capacity to regroup and launch major offensives in Borno? Or do you read the situation differently with this latest win?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. The intelligence on the ground suggests that ISWAP are actually targeting weak points in our security architecture. And they prepare for attack over a long period of time. And they often target places where the radar, for some reasons, fail to touch. So the assumption is that ISWAP is weak. Over the past 4 months, ISWAP has taken the hit from the Americans in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force. A number of their commanders have been killed, they have been liquidated, and ISWAP is actually facing crisis of leadership as we speak. Their key commander, their overall commander, is dead. So there's crisis of leadership. They are just struggling for relevance, and therefore they attack weak positions. And this is not something to worry about, because in every security architecture there are weak points, and we are working. We are aware that the armed forces, the theater command, is working very hard, assiduously, to plug the loopholes.
Are there any information or you can share in terms of how these weak points are being addressed? Because, I mean, if everybody knows it, perhaps that's one way to begin to kill their ability to use these weak points to penetrate.
Yes, there are a number of platforms with, without risking revelation of too much information. I want to assure the public that there are a number of platforms where these loopholes are being addressed. One is the Borno State Security Council, where all the security commanders come together to look at, to review the situation and find immediate solutions to key problems. The second is the command and control room of the theater command, where the theater commander sits both physically and virtually would, field commanders in order to, address key problems, short-term and long-term. So there is a lot of changes going on right now.
All right, quickly before we let you go, sir, there's been a lot of talk about recent recruitment, even people that were rescued from kidnappers' den. There are fears that some of them might have been recruited into ISWAP den. So beyond the military operations, what is the Borno State government doing to prevent communities from becoming recruitment grounds for ISWAP and to address the conditions that allow insurgency to survive?
Well, you said there might be, so that assumption is not correct. The data on the ground shows that recruitment into ISWAP and JAS has been going down over the past few months. And with regards to the question, the real question, the Borno State government has worked very assiduously over the years in order to restore communities, resettle villages and towns, decommission IDP camps, upgrade infrastructure, build roads, water systems, schools, and health centers, and restore agriculture. These are the fundamental matters that have lured poor people into terrorism and insurgency. And the government is addressing bread and butter matters.
All right.
As we speak.
Commissioner, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Yeah, most welcome. Thank you so much.
Now, 25 years after entering Nigeria's telecommunications space, MTN is reflecting on how connectivity has transformed communication, business, and access to opportunities across the country. As the company marks the milestone, attention is also turning to the next phase of digital innovation and what it could mean for Nigeria's increasingly connected population. My colleague Victor Mbadike has more in this report.
From voice calls and SMS to mobile internet, fintech, broad connectivity, Nigeria's connectivity story has changed dramatically since 2001.
Behind every old phone was somebody hearing the voice of a loved one. Behind every recharge card was a Nigerian discovering a new freedom to communicate. Behind every new generation of technology, from 2G to 3G to 4G and now 5G, were new businesses, new industries, new opportunities, new jobs and possibilities.
And MTN's 25-year journey mirrors much of that transformation. The Yellow Streets Museum captures the milestones and the people whose lives and businesses have been reshaped by greater access to connectivity.
It is not about MTN, it's about what technology has been able to allow Nigerians to experience, the economic growth that we have experienced, the broadening and widening of the economy that has come into place because of the ability to do things via technology, the digital transformations that have happened across businesses. A lot of people now spend so much time on data, and that is because they find expression and they find use cases from the data possibilities.
And I just want our audience to, look back in 2001, the state of the telecoms industry, where you had only 400,000 lines, as compared fast forward 25 years later, where you have about over 92 million MTN subscribers alone. 1 in 2 mobile network connections is on an MTN network, and that just shows the stream of possibilities that we exhibited over the years through innovation and providing the latest technology in Nigeria, as we have seen today.
But the next chapter, they say, will be even bigger.
Limitless possibilities, limitless possibilities. If you can imagine it with technology, MTN will be here at the forefront. And for us, we do not see ourselves just as that telecommunications company that is providing connectivity. We see ourselves as a partner for progress.
The gathering brought together loyal customers, dignitaries, and industry stakeholders to celebrate 25 years of connectivity and look ahead to the possibilities of the next 25. In Lagos, for News Central, Victor Badike.
Scores of people have been killed after a powerful earthquake struck western Colombia. The United States Geological Survey said the magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck the Choco region on Monday at about 7:34 a.m. local time at a depth of 107 kilometers. The tremor was felt across several parts of Colombia and in neighboring Venezuela, Ecuador and Panama. Local officials said buildings collapsed in affected communities, with several people feared trapped beneath the rubble. Emergency responders have launched rescue operations to locate and free those still trapped, while authorities assess the extent of the damage. Stay with us for more business, sports and entertainment news.
In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria will return to the primary market with a 700 billion naira treasury bill auction scheduled for Wednesday, August 12th, on behalf of the Debt Management Office. The offer comprises 100 billion naira each for 91-day and 182-day bills, while 500 billion naira is allocated to the 364-day tenor. The auction comes a week after authorities cancelled a similar 700 billion naira offer following aggressive liquidity mop-up through open market operations. Analysts expect liquidity to improve as about 1.58 trillion naira in OMO maturities return to the financial system this week. The auction forms part of the CBN's broader third-quarter Treasury bills issuance program and reflects continued efforts to manage banking system liquidity. And coming now to the local bourse, the NGX All-Share Index closed at 248,529 points. We are seeing that the market is up 1.2%, and that's largely due to Airtel Africa. Without Airtel, the market would have been in the red, and we can boldly see that in the sectoral performances. That's reflected. Most of the sectors were in the red, save consumer goods. Banking is down 24 basis points, insurance down 1.64, oil and gas down 9 basis points, consumer goods, the sole survivor, up 76 basis points, and industrial goods pretty much flat. We'll see how the market performs on Tuesday, but that's it from me tonight on business. I am Joanna Mustafa. Up next, sports.
Nigeria secured a convincing 5-wicket victory over Ghana in the ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup Africa Qualifier Division 2 at the Ganga Main Oval in Rwanda. Ghana won the toss and elected to bat but struggled against Nigeria's bowling attack, eventually being bowled out of 93 runs in 35.5 overs. Nigeria responded confidently, reaching 96 for 5 in 22.2 overs to seal victory with 166 balls to spare. Kenneth Boniface delivered an outstanding all-round performance and was named player of the match for his contribution to Nigeria's win. In football, UEFA, the Asian Football Confederation, and CONCACAF are pushing for FIFA President Gianni Infantino to resign following the fallout over his failed football forward enterprise scheme. In an open letter, UEFA President Alexander Seferin, AFC Chief Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, and CONCACAF President Victor Montagliani called for leadership that serves football and accused Infantino of breaking trust through deception. The three confederations are also discussing alternative competitions and have called for an independent investigation into the FFE proposal. UEFA has previously threatened to boycott FIFA events, raising the possibility that next month's Women's Under-20 World Cup could be held without European teams. Meanwhile, efforts to identify a replacement for Infantino have intensified, with Montagliani reportedly among potential candidates. However, CAF and CONMEBOL have recently backed Infantino ahead of next year's FIFA presidential election. That's it on Sports News tonight. I am Okpeoluwa Adibari. Entertainment is next with Sam Dandy.
And now in entertainment, Afrobeats musician Choco is taking his talents from music scene to Nollywood. The rising star is making his acting debut in Funke Akidile's upcoming movie set for December 2026. The singer will appear alongside veteran actress Waje and iconic cast including RMD, Bisola Ayola, Chioma Akpota, Timini Egbuson, amongst others. Now Choco's big screen move comes after, of course, a strong run in music with major collaborations including Kiss Daniel Davido, chart-topping hits, and of course awards to show for it. A big congratulations, of course, to Choco on that one. That's the biggest story in entertainment. I am Sam Dandy.
Before we go, let's take you back to developments in Osun State, where the political tempo is rising ahead of August 15 governorship election. Governor Ademola Adeleke and party leaders have intensified their campaign ahead of the polls. A mega campaign rally in Osogbo attracted high-profile political figures, including a visit to the Oni of Ife, who also offered prayers for Governor Adeleke while calling for a peaceful, credible, and successful election across the state. With just days to the polls, political parties are stepping up their mobilization efforts as the final countdown to the election gathers momentum. The August 15 poll is expected to draw keen attention as the major contenders make their final push to secure the mandate of the people of Osun. As always, we'd appreciate your feedback and your eyewitness report. Please share them. Use the number being displayed now on your screen. You can follow us on all social media platforms at News Central TV. You can find live programming on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, on Star Times channel 274, Alvo TV, and on YouTube.